Wow. Just trying to not speak from a crying voice here, but that's crazy. I didn't think I was gonna cry like that. That was insane. Welcome to Heart Picker Podcast. You're listening to Lara. This is part 2 of episode 1. Phyllis passed at April 24th at 8:20 p.m. So she's gone. She's not with us anymore. Wow, April 24th. Whoa. So I didn't even realize this, guys, but I published the intro a month, how do you call that? 1 month anniversary. The day that she died, 1 month later. I have to sit with that for a moment. Ooh, grief comes in stages, guys. I cried so much the first time that... Okay, yeah. I cried so much the first time that Phyllis told me that she was gonna die. Because I never met someone that wise. You know, you hear documentaries and you hear interviews and you hear podcasts and you hear amazing people, but I think few people have the privilege and the luck to have someone that close to you. I want to do something that makes justice to who she was, and I know that it's very hard to do that. I'm not gonna do a perfect job. I'm just getting started. But what I'm realizing is that how much I miss Phyllis. How grateful I am that I had her in my life. How sad I am, too, that it was too short. 3 months. That's all I had with her, and it's just not enough. It's not enough, but no, it is enough. It is enough. It is enough. It's how it was meant to be. And I'm so grateful. If it weren't for her, I don't think I'd be doing this podcast. I don't think I'd be writing a book, and I would still be a scared little girl. I wish she would have had more fame and recognition in her life, but that's the lesson here. Is that we're not doing this to be famous. I hope that this episode will do justice to those lessons and that everyone will feel what I felt when I was listening to her talk. As long as she impacts you, which I can't control, but all I can do is deliver the message. That's crazy. I didn't think I was gonna cry like that. That was insane. Phyllis has taught me that we need to create, we need to live a life from our creativity, and that we can do that any way we like. We are in control of our lives, and that the number one thing that we need to do in order to live any kind of happy life is to know ourselves. I know you've heard this a lot. I've heard it a lot, and I didn't know, well, how do you know yourself? You know, how do you learn about yourself? But I think you do it through a little bit of solitude. She also has a video on conscious dying, and I'm going to put the link in the caption. And you can check out her channel if you want to hear her talk. She has an Instagram. She has great content. But that video, Conscious Dying, was a live that she did all about her final words before she left and how we could view death from a different perspective. Conscious dying. She says it's not dying. We don't die. We move to a different dimension, and she is a researched woman. She's not just all woo-woo. She brings the research into everything that she says in terms of spirituality. That's what I love about her. Rest in peace, Mama Phyllis, my spiritual guide, my spiritual teacher. Wherever you are, I feel you every day, every night. This one's for you. So you took off to Thailand. What were the first
Yes.
challenges What were your challenges in that process?
Realizing I wasn't there to find another man.
Yeah. That's a big one.
That's a big one. It's a big one. It goes, okay, why am I here? Why didn't I just up and leave everything I know? Beverly Hills, I mean, Beverly Hills was calling me. I was acting. They were like, you don't even have to audition. You have this gig. You're going to produce a show. La, 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 la. Like, no, I'm going to pursue spiritual something or try to learn something. And I'm like, am I crazy? And then I'm doing it alone? Am I crazy? And I went, yeah, yeah, yeah. It means enough to me. It matters on a level I couldn't explain. Couldn't explain. I just had to go. It wasn't intellectual. There was no. I hadn't read our girl's book. I'd read Fear of Flying, but I hadn't read Eat, Pray, Love. And so I was just like, I'm going.
And
I'm
that
going. I'm
was,
just going. I'm gonna figure it
yeah,
out. I'm gonna
yeah.
go do it because there's something I gotta know. There was a longing and a hunger I fulfilled.
Mm.
Period. I need to know. And then if that didn't work out, I knew I could always go back because my family was like, "What do you mean you're going?" I'm like, and I've never gone back. That's it.
That's right.
It's been a one-way ticket every time. I'm like, oh, I'm not going back. No, I've enjoyed the learning. I enjoy what it gave me. I enjoy the fulfillment of, oh, that was beautiful. I would have never eaten that. I would have never seen that. I would have never experienced that if I hadn't gone out there. And as my 93-year-old auntie said to me, she said, you have done what most people have been afraid to do. Fear has kept them. And again, when I was 19, I had to learn that fear is something you go through. It doesn't stop you. It's something you go through. And it's a good trigger, a good tool to use to go, yes, oh, I'm afraid of something. I should look at this.
Follow your fear. Yeah.
Follow the fear. Pay attention to it. It's there for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
how many years was this in Thailand?
4 years, 8 months.
Okay.
4 years, 8 months. Long enough to go, okay, I'm ready for something else. Ready for something else. And I would have stayed. I was quite comfortable, but it got too polluted and was difficult to stay.
And what was that something else? A relationship or a different career path or just a different place, different culture?
Well, I have been a 3-time cancer survivor. And one of the things for my body, I can't tolerate pesticides. I need to be 3 feet away from them, or I have a reaction,
Oh.
physical, painful reaction. And so, unfortunately, Thailand is the biggest rice producer in the world, and Monsanto is the biggest sprayer of that rice. And so, when it got to the point I couldn't even walk around anymore without, because there's rice fields everywhere, and the pesticides were in the air. So I was like, this is painful to live here. It was that. And so that level of sensitivity of my body said, time to go. It's time to go. I didn't need to be politically pushed out. My body said, it hurts to be here. It just simply hurts. And so I was traveling, I'd go to Bali, and I went to South Africa, I go to Europe, and I said, well, where can I go? Where can I live? Where is it safe for me to be? I went to Indonesia, looking for, I loved Asia. I love the food mainly. And it just wasn't there. And Vilcabamba, Ecuador, there's a woman who visited from here in Thailand, and I met her one day on the street, and we got to chat, and she told me about the place, and I went, oh, okay, so one-way ticket, boom, here I came. Here I am. So it was easy. And for me, I do have a rule for myself when I travel. I have a push factor and I have a pull factor.
Okay.
So the push is why I need to go. This ain't working. I don't like it here anymore. And the pull factor is what's over there. What have they got that I would like to see or do different? And so it had the air, the quality, less Monsanto. It had legal marijuana. I was like, okay, I can be an adult, and not, sniffing around and hiding. I said, yeah, I'd like to. And after leaving America from California, where you're like, oh, finally, we're adults. And I was not going to go back into that kind of behavior. So that was one of the thing. And then, the magic happened. The magic happened. I said, I'm thinking about it. I desired it. And then, like how I got to Thailand is the same way I got to Ecuador. One of my clients bought me a ticket. And okay, I'll buy you a ticket. And I went, okay. The magic happened.
Wow. That's amazing. That's synchronicity, right? Mm-hmm.
Bingo, baby. Again, I'm going, oh, that happened. And when it happens, 5 years apart like that, you go, wow, that's pretty consistent. And I made no effort. I just thought about it and longed for it and spoke it, and it happened. And that's what I think is so cool about being human. I think that's the best part about being human, is that we live on this planet that our responsibility is to co-create. We are creators. We are natural. We think, we magnetize, boom, it happens. That's the magic of being human. Mm-hmm. And we have a responsibility to caretake the planet. But what is natural is this process that keeps happening. We know our power to create by our thoughts and our emotions. Just think of what we could do. If children are trained that way,
yeah, there'd be very little fear, or there's always fear, but there wouldn't be fear domination and anxiety. Right. And maybe that's the next generation's thing, is the anxiety and depression of our generation won't be as strong, because we'll be teaching our kids, because we don't want them to suffer that. It's that whole, and maybe we go too far into saying you're special, you can do whatever you want, and then they'll, then you have the millennials, or Generation X.
Right. Yeah. What level? And to be fair, yes, you can do whatever you want. That wasn't a lie. They just didn't tell them the whole side of the story.
However, it takes working hard. It takes this. It takes that. They just think they're going to get it. And
right.
It does.
So it doesn't just come. We have time. We have effort. We have to work it. And we have to do some actions toward it.
Exactly.
And sometimes it is just as simple as speaking our thoughts and manifesting. But, basically we go, okay, I'm not going to stay home and depressed. I'm going to go to the library and research. What a difference that makes.
Yeah.
You have a desire. You get up and follow your desire. Wow. Then you learn something. And then you go, oh, that was easy. So there is steps to the process. And I love what the Mayans, and I've loved Mayan astrology for that reason, because they look at purpose with humans. And they said the formula for humans is time multiplied by energy equals your art. And we are all here to create art. So whatever you focus your time on, everybody's got the same amount of time here. A minute is a minute is a minute. A life is a life is a life. Whatever you do with that, that's your art. Whether you sat at home and ate popcorn and, didn't care and, just let life take you, or someone tell you what to do, or you did the job, or did you go out and create and follow, or do something scary and push past the fear? Mm-hmm. Did you get through the fear?
Yeah.
Because it's just a little space, a little bit. Everybody got some. Everybody got a little fear. We get excited. We like the fear. Kicks us off.
But it's less and less. It doesn't have a stronger hold on us the more we do it.
Thank you.
We do it and we're like, oh, we survived. We're okay. We'll still be scared, but we'll because we did it already. It doesn't have a just so it's the only way to surpass fears, to just do it, to go through it. So the
it's
times, Yeah, you've had plenty of near-death experiences other than cancer. You've said, and more than anyone I've ever, heard of at your age. How have you felt? How have you felt? First, I have three questions. First, how did you feel when you were going through that? Second, in the past, because it's been at different ages that you've
Yeah.
had, for example, cancer.
Hmm.
Second, why do you think it's been, or why do you think it's happened to you so often?
Yeah.
And third, what did you learn?
Okay.
It's hard.
Let's do cancer, because the other ones were, plane crashes, those various crazy ones that whoa, that kind of things. And those you can't see coming. With cancer, I know why the cancers. I lived in America and it's quite polluted. Period. It's just we live in a toxic pool, and most countries that we've had chemicals. Monsanto was created in 80 years ago. So there's no one alive that has not been exposed by chemical toxins. So we live in something that's going to kill us one way or another if we get exposed by it too much. So at 38, when I got my first cancer, I didn't realize it was from the birth control I was taking that gave it to me. And I was like, okay, cut it out. That solved the problem. Just cut it out, And it was trust the doctor. Trust that guy and see if he'll solve your problem. What they don't tell you each time this happens, each time I trust the doctor, they don't tell you the whole story. And the whole story was, well, yeah, we're cutting out an ovary and you'll have only a 10% chance of being able to get pregnant, which I didn't know until I got married and was trying to have kids at 41. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? Yeah, well, yeah, you got scar tissue and la, 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 la. Heartbreak, okay. 45, cancer comes back again. Crap. And everything in my body said, don't do chemo. Yeah, I tried not to, but I couldn't find any other answers. I couldn't find any other alternatives. I didn't know anything about Chinese medicine or Ayurvedic medicine or energy medicine or quantum medicine or any of those things. I didn't know anything about them. So I went to the chemo. And at one point, I said, this stuff is killing me. And I had a light bulb go on, and I went to the library and I pulled up that long, really tiny sheet of all the things you're taking in that drug. And then you realize, I'm taking rat poison.
Wow.
All different kinds, 4 different kinds. And what the 4 different kinds do, and I looked them up and I went, oh my God. And so I stopped taking it. I didn't finish my chemo, and my doctors were not happy with me that I didn't take all of my chemo. And I said, no. And I felt empowered, finally. Felt empowered to take my life back into my own hands. That I wasn't listening to some white man in a white coat telling me what to do. Because he wasn't telling me everything. Because he didn't know. And you know what I realized? Western medicine doesn't even teach nutrition. They know nothing about healthy nutrition.
Nothing.
At all. I was like, oh my God. The third time, because I was told whatever stage you are, I was at stage 3 of the second time I had cancer. I said, every stage you're at, you get a 15% chance of it coming back. At 45%, I knew I had to do this. But what did he tell me? Well, how do I avoid it? Diet and exercise. That's all I got. Diet and exercise. I was overweight. I love chocolate. I still love chocolate. and I went, okay. But nothing about pesticides. Nothing about the water you're drinking that, California at the time had oh my gosh, we had, remember Aaron Brockovich, who did this movie about all the pesticides in the water, that they were doing fracking in the water. We were drinking that every day. And I was like, I'm drinking poison. Oh, and the more you peeled back the onion, California would brag, or Los Angeles would brag, we had the best drinking water in the country. That's because they put 45 different chemicals in it so that it would taste good and it would pass inspection. And you went, what? You mean you're just lying to me? You mean my government's lying to me? You mean this is lying to me and that's wrong? And I'm like, oh, come on, y'all. And then I went, I can't fight that system. I need to leave. So that was that push factor to leave America. And it empowered me again to take my life in my own hands. And empowerment is something, once you get it, back off, Jack. Once you got it, you're like, So you ain't telling me what to do. You know better. You know better. And so it was a slow maturity. I wish I knew that at 25 versus 45 and 50. But it was, I have to take responsibility for my own life, because I can't trust my government to take care of me and tell me it's okay, tell me what to think, tell me what to do. I need to be responsible. And that forced me to keep looking, forced me to find other answers. Health, I said, how did you awaken? I said, I would have died if I hadn't awakened, period. Health forced me to waken up and go, oh, it's not, I was a party girl in LA. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Dancing with the stars. What could go wrong? It was like, everything's fine. But no, it's not. It's a veneer. As I remember, I heard a Mexican woman say about Americans, we live in a gilded cage. We think everything is fine and we're just being lied to. And I went, oh, I don't like that part. I don't like being lied to in a relationship, by my government, by my priest, by anybody. A lie is not when you got radical honesty, kind of like, well, wait, if I bring this bar to myself, what are you doing? So that was that process of having to make those choices for myself. Other part of the question was,
what did you? Well, I think you've said it. How you felt, what you learned. Why do you think it happened so often? I think you've answered those.
Yeah, we said ignorance was bliss. That's what they told us. Ignorance was bliss. I'm like, ignorance is dangerous. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
So, and interesting. Now, here's one of the things, I don't want to blame anybody for their ignorance, because here's what's happened in our Western culture. We have been sent to work 8 hours a day. Now, our human bodies don't like that. It's not natural for us to do something for 8 hours a day. That's slavery. And they know it. And it doesn't allow you to be creative. It doesn't allow you to challenge. It doesn't allow you to rest. It doesn't allow you to recuperate. Mm-hmm. And so when that happens, you're just kind of a slave to a job. Because then they get you with that, well, you got to do this, you got to do that. And so that slavery is cruel. We have been abused. So it's not our fault. And that brings out the angry Black woman in me, because I want to go, stop that. Stop that. I love that we all have to sit at home right now. I love that this is forcing us to rest.
Yeah, to figure out what's important to us, how our own natural rhythms, and that's why a lot of people don't know what to do with themselves, because they're used to that system and that schedule and the structure, and now they have to figure that out by themselves. I could never get used to the office job when I was in Canada, and I always thought, well, it's because I'm lazy, or it's because I'm a millennial, but really it was a fact. Like, it was many factors. One, I didn't feel like I was fulfilling my purpose or doing my creativity. I'd come home and I'd be exhausted. So I'd have projects in my
Mm-hmm.
mind. And so when I went to Asia, that sort of made me free. And I thought, that's it. I have to figure out how I can live without that kind of life. But even the last year, being at home and having my own, my little side gig keeping me going, it's not that much money, but it's enough. But then when I
Mm-hmm.
have the rest of the day to myself, it took me a long time to get over the 8-hour mark. I mean, I thought I had to be at my desk from 9 to 5. And if I got to my
Oh
desk
yeah.
at noon and only worked until maybe 3 or 2, I
Yeah.
felt like
Yeah.
that's it. That's a failure of a day. I wasn't productive. And it wasn't about time. It's about the quality.
Yeah. 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 And we only have about really 4 hours of good production time in us. That's natural for us. And we should be blending it, I mean, it is an amazing, and here's what happens to our brains in particularly. If you are in that 8 hours, you stay in beta brain, or what we used to call in the old day a Luddite. And Luddites get wiped out because they don't awaken enough to go, oh, I need to change to survive. But then you have alpha, you have theta, and you have gamma. These are higher consciousness of the brain, period. You allow your brain to go boom and take your body with you. We were told we have a double helix strand of DNA. Two. We have 12. We don't just have two, we have 12. And they've called the other 10 junk because they didn't know what to do with them. But children are now being born, whatever that next generation is, with 6 of those strands already turned on and awakened. So they're already operating at a higher level of consciousness in the body. Their bodies are different. They have evolved into something else.
Mm-hmm.
And we who have been trapped in this beta lifestyle have to fight to get through it. Literally. We have to leave our jobs. We have to go and do the things that is contrary to everything else to get through to that. But it's our freedom. It's our freedom. And it's not about where we go, what we do. It's just the freedom to be human as we are meant to be.
Yeah.
That's what matters. That's what matters. It's so beyond the relationship. It's so beyond the fulfilling family life and job. It's like,
Job and
it's
career.
more than that.
Yeah.
It's being human. We got some skills we ain't tapping into. We're like, and we deserve it. And in my lifetime, I'm grateful to acknowledge that and to talk about that and to share about that and go, hey, y'all, guess what we missing? The party's over here. The party's in gamma, baby. Get to gamma. Get to gamma. Take your
Yeah.
body
And it's so
to that.
hard. It's so hard because even, again, we have, even me, when people ask me, what did you graduate from? Or what's your job? It's so hard for me to explain, well, I'm not living the traditional nine to
Yeah.
five cool job, and I didn't get the cool degree or the very impressive degree. I'm just trying to create stuff, and it's really hard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's
Because
hard.
you're talking to betas. You're
Yeah.
talking to betas.
And
That's
when
the
you
only
don't
thing. You
have
got to
that
find another
community,
tribe.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. When you don't have that tribe, you're kind of on your own, and it's
Yeah.
hard to get that confidence going.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's the reason society has sort of made us to become that way, is because it's what benefits economy? Like, it's,
Mhm,
if we told
mhm.
kids, you can actually live a different life, there won't be jobs. People won't want to do their jobs then. Or they'll want to make less money because they don't need that much
Yeah.
money, so they won't be working as much.
Ooh, that's the scary part. They don't need the money. you know, I love the cartoon with the guy. The alarm goes off at 6 in the morning, and all the things he had to do before to get to work at 8:30, and all what he has to do now, and he doesn't have to. He can just roll up to the computer at 8:30. And I'm like, and he's smiling. It's like, oh, something happened. We changed. our world changed around us and we are a happier person. And that surprises us. And I'm grateful for that because we see that we can be different. We see that it is possible. We see the opportunities that are available to us. We can reach out for them and get them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason not to. When you know you can.
Yeah.
When you know you can have what you want. You can have the dream. You can do the art. I have an artist friend who's making me do more art, and I'm just like, okay, I haven't played. I like to collect art. I'm not a maker of art. I like but having to do it has forced my brain into new areas that I never expected. It was like, oh, I didn't know that was possible. And new doors, magic happens, all of this stuff happens. And I'm like, okay, go figure. I don't have to go back to that. And industry, business doesn't make money that way. They want you to, Henry Ford designed the American public education system. And it was designed to get people to do the same thing over and over and over and over again, because they wanted to train you to stay beta brain. Mm-hmm. And so you could build their cars because you're not living your dream. They get jealous and they want to put you out of business when you're not building someone else's dream. But when you're building your own dream, you don't need. And getting people to move into the cities and urban life and all of that, they had to put the carrot out in front of it to make it, which was money. The carrot was money. Mm-hmm. And you can have this kind of life and excitement, but there's a bit of a slavery. What can I say? An interesting kind of slavery. We have been wage slaves.
What do you predict the world will be like post-coronavirus? Or how will we be?
Ooh. Well, Corona is just one. As I said, it's virus, it's flu season. We just gave it a fancier name. It's flu season. We get over that. And then something else comes. And then it's flood season. And then it's, did the crops fail? And, let's China and US and Russia, hope they don't shoot each other. This is an interesting bio war that's going on. But it'll be, and Americans only are a part of it. Now, America has an influence on the fear of being shut down and going, we don't want a vaccine. Sit down. Nobody else is doing a vaccine. Stop that. So we hopefully will be smarter and make more decisions on what we want. Not following what someone is telling us. We'll break the shackles of being told what to do based on fear. And if we do that, happy day. Happy day, happy day, happy day. We'll get through there. So we have a maturity that has to happen. And this crisis of Corona is a gift. It's the crown that is being challenged. And that's a gift that we get a moment to be still and be inward and listen. So it's a test, as the Hopi and the Native indigenous people have all said. We have a choice. We keep doing what they tell us to do, and that's not in our best interest.
Right.
So we make decisions for ourselves, or we go along with what we're told. So it is an individual choice. And the beautiful thing is, it doesn't take everybody. It just takes enough of us to go no. And we'll make it. We'll make it. I'm not worried for children so much. I'm worried for the old people that get stuck.
Yeah.
They can't change. The younger, we have to stay home, and we learn that, mommy and daddy want to stay home with us. Mommy and daddy will teach us. We can grow our own food. That they go, what do they get? Confidence.
Yeah, totally. It's true.
Yeah. But at one level, I'm not worried about it, because whether a storm comes or not, we've survived it. We are the survivors of previous generations. We got here because other people survived. So we can learn too. We can learn that too. So I think, I know we'll come through. And I'm going to be working to make sure we do. I'm like, here's the thing. There's this immortality issue, the problem that we have to solve. You know, third dimensional life is kind of cool because there's this time thing. It starts, it ends. But immortality, it don't end. And you have consciousness that stays with you. And you got to deal with that. And the nice thing about being human is coming out and working out your stuff. You can work on your triggers. You can work on your fears because you don't want to keep manifesting negatively. So when you go, okay, let me work on this trigger. I'm over that fear. I can take off and do something else now. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Put me in, coach. I'm ready for the next level. And as I learn, we have third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, 10 dimension, 12 dimensions. I'm like, oh, we're just starting. We got a lot more to go. I'm like, oh, they didn't tell us that. I'm like, oh, this keeps going.
So you don't believe when we pass, we just die and our souls die and we're nothing, and
No. How many ghost stories are out there? Somebody talking, somebody doing something. I'm like, well, how come they ain't dead? I kept asking, well, how come they ain't gone? And Jews, that's what they teach. There's nothing afterwards. I'm like, ooh, that's cruel. It's kind of cruel. The baby picks the day and the time it wants to be born, right? It knows when it wants to incarnate into this thing. So we were conscious before, we are conscious afterwards. So I'm going, oh, there's more they're not telling us. And I remember the first thing they do when a conquering a war, who did they kill first? The librarians. They burn the books. So the things that we can know, they don't want us to know. So we have to find out, or we suffer the consequences. And it's up to us. And unless you're willing, just to go along to get along, right? It's your life. How do you want it to turn out? I'm like, I'm in it to win it. Like, at all levels. I'm not done. This is not, just because death feels like labor. Feels like I'm graduating to something else. And I'm like, oh, there's more? Okay. What's next? And like being a baby in the womb, you can't see shit. You can't hear shit. You just know there's food coming, there's water, you're swimming, and then it gets uncomfortable and you're kicking and you got to get out. And then you start over. And then here we are. Okay, who are y'all? Who are you people? What are we doing here? Why am I here? And then we don't get any training because we're not told our purpose. We don't know why we're here. So we got to figure it out again.
Yeah. So you believe in reincarnation?
You can, if you want to, reincarnate. I'm like, do something else. there's more than reincarnation. How about that? There's more options, and find them. And I want to know them all before I make it. I can't make a decision unless I know. I'm like, don't just be throwing me down a tunnel. Here I come again. No, hold up. Wait a minute. No, let's choose. Let's make some conscious decision. And I know I look at my astrological charts, and I've had astrologers say to me, it's like you handpicked your chart. And I'm like, that would be something I'd do. That would be something I would consciously do. So when you're conscious, you make better decisions. The more you know, information is power. I kind of have game theory, strategy for life. This is a game we're all here to play. And I'm like, I'm in it to win it. I want to get as many gold chips and as far as I can go in it and go. And then what? What else you got? And I'm a sci-fi fan, and there's worlds out there. I'm like, why we got to stay here? I won't go someplace else. So, do something else. So, and I get bored easily. So I got to admit that that's part
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
problem.
Do you have any fears?
Good question. Ooh,
Is there, because it's really nice to think about all the things
well,
that could the next
possibilities.
dimensions, yeah, the
Yeah.
possibilities. But in when you think about that final moment, is there any
Yeah.
fear? Because
I know.
we there's
I
still
know.
uncertainty.
Yeah. 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 Well, had practice facing fear. So I know I'm going to go through it, and it's like a scary movie. I'm like, ooh, the fear part is coming, and I'm kind of excited about that because once I leap over, then the joy comes, then the fun comes. I've had the practice of facing my fears, and I've come through the other side. So when I think about what am I afraid of, I didn't eat enough chocolate. I'm like, I didn't get everything I wanted. I'm like, no. What's here that I want still? I'm like, I'm kind of bored here. I'm like, I want something else. I want more. So the fear of coming back would be the worst, I guess. Like, oh, shit. What if I had to come back and do it again? Oh, please. Give me a break. Come on. Haven't I done enough work to do something more?
Mm,
I'm putting in the time for that.
yeah.
I'm not sitting on my ass for that reason. I'm going to push it as far as I can. I want to push myself as far as I can. I want to be the best I can be. There ain't nothing else to do. Nothing
Right.
else to do.
Right.
What else are we doing?
Yeah.
What else matters? So, no, only if I don't learn a lesson. That would be frustrating. And that feels like a nick in my armor. That's the only thing. I'm like, did I catch everything? That's my
Yeah.
only thing. Did I catch everything? That's what I'm focused on. Thank you. Good question.
So what's the ideal afterlife look for you?
A party. It's a party, mama. It's a party. It's the feeling of a good party, the discovery of something new. Ooh, that's the feeling I'm looking forward to. And going, okay, can I do more of that? And I don't expect it to be perfect. And it's one of the things you understand with these dimensional levels and with the chakras. And that's one of the things I'll be talking about on Saturdays is that we know 7 chakras, but there's, 7, and then there's 7 more, and then there's 7 more. We stand in 3rd dimension on top of the chakras from the 1st and the 2nd dimension. So we've evolved as a species, but there's more. So I'm like, it's a continuation. So it's like, game on, kids. This ain't done. So you have to realize you don't get heaven is not putting your feet up. That's what
Yeah.
we've been told.
Yeah.
And so when we don't see that on the other side, that's when we get a little disappointed and lost. What do you mean? So there's more to this, and that's the expectation I have for myself is that I will just keep on trucking. And I get bored, so I'm like, okay, what else you got? I'm gonna go up to the Galactic Federation and go, what's wrong with y'all? And I know we're just human, but help a sister out, help a
Yeah.
sister out.
Yeah.
So
Well,
let's do that.
that's great. And that's great for others to be exposed to that kind of thinking.
Right,
And in my experience,
right.
I've had friends who died young out of accidents. They didn't get like out of
Mm-hmm,
nowhere. And
mm-hmm.
do you think it's something that we should be doing from a very young age to think about, you know, death and what do we think or what do we believe? What do we want to decide about it? And
Well,
what
it's
this whole
again,
thing
it's
about
not
conscious
death.
dying.
Yeah, it's not death. It's what do we want to do in 3rd dimension?
Hmm. What is the 3rd dimension?
This reality, time, is this time, we have this time system where we come in, incarnate, and then we go out. And we're here for a while and we get to learn some things, we get to play, we live on this planet that we get to create, and then we get to go to the next level and do something else. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's life. That's life. And it has a birth, it has an ending, but it's a period of time that we get to do stuff. And then we get to do something else. So I'm going, but we got infinity. We got immortality. How often does immortality come up in your daily life? We've been denied information. If we were thinking about our immortal lives, we would play this one a lot differently, right? If you knew you were going to die at 45, well, how would you do your life differently? You'd plan. You'd go, okay, well, I want to get this accomplished. Okay, I got this time period. What do I want to get done in this time? What's the purpose of this time period? And I think that's another lie that kind of pisses me off about being human, that they don't tell us. You can know when you're going to die. You can know that. The astrological systems, you can find out. But they don't want to tell you because they're like, oh no, we can't know that. And I'm like, what do you mean we can't know that? That keeps us stupid. That keeps us ignorant. It keeps us afraid. It keeps us unempowered. You know you're going to work a job for 6 months, 6 years. Okay, great. I'm doing it. You're going to be in a relationship. You know this parent role will last so many years, and then you got to do something else with your life. You plan.
Yeah.
You plan. And so conscious dying, which is I like to say now, makes you live more consciously. The things I've gotten done when my hospice nurse said, "Yep, you're dying," I went, "Okay, I got things to do. Nose to the grindstone. I got work to do." I had that attitude of okay, and the gift of again, experience of fear and the experience of near death has taught me that there's no guarantee here. You could check out anytime. And I didn't know anything about the astrological stuff. I was just like, okay, when you have a near death experience, you go, oh, okay, what am I going to do with the rest of this time? So it's a gift. And you go, okay, and it makes you value time a little more. And so I had those experiences. So I was just, okay, it could come anytime. Let me enjoy and let me do what I say I'm going to do. Let me write my books. Let me tell my stories. Let me have some fun. Let me do that stuff because it's no guarantee here. And now when the guarantee is up, done, contract's up, okay, thank you. I've had a great life. Even the shitty parts, even the cancers, even the pain, even the divorces,
Yeah.
even the men cheating on you. I'm like, yeah, but I would have rather had them than not have them at all. So I'm going, yeah, okay, let's do that. Let's do that. So no complaints. No complaints. It's been full. It's been rich. Even if I had died at 38, I would have, my childhood alone was enough. I was like, that was fun. That was fun. I enjoyed that. I had reasons to celebrate. So no complaints.
What resources can we, you're the researcher and like to know things and learn. And you say, we've been denied of so much information. I wouldn't even know where to start if I were to want to find information on immortality and what resources do you recommend starting with?
Close your eyes and ask the question, what do I need to know next? Because you start creating the neurons that start working. What do I need to know? What do I need to know? What do I need to know? And then the heart starts pulling it towards you. It's an internal game. You don't have to go guessing. The mind doesn't have to play. You just ask the question, what do I need to know? It's like, what do I want to create? You're creating your art in you. It's a simple question, Mama. What do I need to know next? And then let it come. And then somebody will show up with a book and you go, oh, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it works like that. It's the magic. You're not, this is how the planet works. This is how we manifest. This is how this system works here. It's not woo-woo.
How
That's
do
the
we deal
beautiful.
with people who don't believe in any of this and who could be listening to this right now and say, this is a load of crap, you know? how do we, how do we
Yeah.
coexist with people like that? Do we just let them be
Uh,
and not try to convince them like you've said with your Christian friends?
yeah. Well, I'm like, okay, if it's working for you, keep it going. But, you pray, and you ask for God to give you guidance. So trust you'll get it. Because, you be your own God. And that may be blasphemous for some, but you just ask. There's not a formula for knowledge. It comes from everywhere. I'm amazed at the people I don't like who teach me things. He admit it. They're like, oh, okay, I'll make a note of that. You ask you. You're your higher self. You gotta trust you. How can you trust you? You gotta start practicing. It won't come from anywhere else. You don't go outside to the library. And I love libraries. Don't get me wrong,
Me
but
too.
I couldn't start there because I could sit there all day and read about butterflies, not get any further. But I'm like, ooh, they were pretty, and and enjoy it. But I'm like, what do I need to know next? Is my always question. What do I need to know next? Show me.
Have you thought about the legacy? Like, have you thought about a legacy and what legacy you want to leave behind?
That's been a very good, tough question because I haven't figured that one out yet. And it it wasn't until my family who said to me, it's my stories that matter, not what you wrote, legacy. And I went, oh. So I'm going to, thanks to you, I have written about some of my stories. It'll be, I was like, oh, it's like a little pressure of like, you got a little time to tell all your stories. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way I can tell all the stories. I can just go, it was fun and keep doing it and keep doing it for yourself. And if you learned anything from me, don't quit. Treat yourself like your own best customer. Treat yourself like someone you love. It'll get you where you want to go. And I've gotten a long way and I've gotten very far and I've had fun along the way and I've collected beautiful art. And even my bald head, I'm kind of, I'm getting used to it. So like, I kind of like it. So, and I'm grateful as a writer. The importance of writing is you're a storyteller and you're around other storytellers. And people tell your story. They talk about you. They call you like, did you? And they've called me, and I'm like, oh, you heard that story, huh? Okay. And so it works. We share. We do. We are. We can't help ourselves. We can't help ourselves, and it's a gift. Being human is such a cool thing, and I wouldn't mind doing it again. But I decided to add another. Can we kick it up a notch?
Yeah. 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 I get that. And do you have any, I don't know, are those your final words of advice that you'd like to leave behind?
Final words. Try everything. Try everything. You don't know until you like it. Fear is a good measure, and like you might like it even more. So try everything.
Right. Yeah.
Good question, girl. You need to be in journalism.
Yeah, I like it. I just don't like being told what to be a journalist about. I want to do my own
There you go.
journalism.
Thank you.
We've talked about the main problem we see in society and in humans, and we've talked about many problems already and what you think needs to change. I feel like I've covered a lot of everything. Um,
Yeah.
I want to know one thing. After 3 times of cancer getting over it, what made you this time react differently when you told me you were tired of chasing it, you
Yeah.
feel you're done?
The fourth time. Yeah.
Yeah, the fourth time. What made you okay,
Yeah.
accept it?
It wasn't me. It was my body. I can keep fighting, and I'm like, you're not going to win this fight. And it was research. It was like I'd had enough things happen on top of this, on top of this. It wasn't just cancer. It was a long-term bacterial infection. It was an electrocution accident that, just kind of stimulated things. And I went, there's some things you just don't come back from. And then you got, okay, got it. All right, we get it. And so you can relax. There's a niceness to that one. And it's like, thank you. Because it's exhausting chasing health at one
Oh yeah.
stage. It's exhausting. And unfortunately, for most of us, there's you can die rapidly, like the car accident, but most of us get sick and then it has this really slow decline.
Which one do you prefer?
Fast.
You would have preferred that, really? And
Yeah.
I can't even answer that. I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, if even from this chair, I mean, it's a thrill to be in this position to be able to talk about what I know and what I've learned and all of those experiences. So I know that is my life. That's what I was supposed to do, and that's what I do. Um, However, fast and easy, oh, girl, who loves pain? The painful way, I'm like, me and my pain pen, I'm like, oh, okay. How many more weeks of this do I have before I get to go? Okay, we're done. Because if you know you're going there, you're going, okay, so can we go now? Because this hurts. So if I had my druthers, I'd go fast, but most of us don't. And it's a good thing, probably we don't, because we can, we fight. We fight to live, no matter the cost, because that's what we're told. Sure, I did. Yes, I have a responsibility. If I'm a mother, I have to take care of my children. If I have this, I have that. I have responsibilities. So I can't just die. It's selfish. And so I go, okay, in that phase of my life, I would agree, but I'm not in that phase of my life. And so I've had the richness and the fullness of like, I've checked off all the boxes I wanted to check off. My bucket list is pretty darn done. If you haven't made your bucket list of all the things you want to do in your life, how will you know you've done them? How will you feel accomplished? So, and it wasn't until I was done that I went, oh, yeah, I have done everything I said I wanted to do. I have accomplished a lot. And the feeling, let me take that all back. The feeling of gratitude, that has been the overwhelming feeling. It's no fear, it's no regret, it's a feeling of gratitude. This was good. This was a good game. I had a good time. That's the feeling that tells me it's okay to die. That's it. It's a gratitude feeling.
What advice would you give for people who are on the other side and they're supporting someone who's going through what you're going through? What are the right words? What is the way to be with that person? Because you've seen all these different reactions. The day you told me you had to console me and I was in shock and crying all day.
Mhm.
How would you, how would you advise people
Yeah.
to deal with that?
Um, it's a good time to listen and pay attention because I'm going to go through a journey that you haven't gone to yet. You haven't even thought about it, so it puts you in shock. But and but let me be on the other side. I've just heard you're leaving me, and I'm hurt because it's a feeling of loss. We feel it, and I go, you know what? I'll be waiting on you, and that doesn't feel so comforting yet. But he goes, you know, I've had a good life, and as you feel listening again, I'm back in my shoes. I'm trying to be back in their shoes and going, you have to hear the message. And so I think about it was my family members and was my father. My father was the first one I had to, at 15, who I sat with as he died. And I, that was a cool experience because I, unfortunately, his mental capacity went before his body went. And so he was storytelling to me, and I got to learn so many things from him just by sitting and listening because I had no words. I just knew I was about to lose my dad, and I wanted to sit with him. And because of that, it wasn't about me anymore. It wasn't about my loss. It was about his story. And so there was I wouldn't say I was selfish. I was 15. I was going to lose my dad, but it was about listening and going, okay, it is about you. It's your turn. It's like, okay, you're about to graduate. I should pay attention now because probably what you say now will really matter. And so it helped with that feeling of, oh, and I was with him when he died, and I was alone with him when he died. And it was the most peaceful experience I'd ever had of just going, oh, that was okay. You know, he was okay. He didn't go in pain and suffering. This was like peaceful. And it was like, oh, that could happen. And because I've had clients who've also consciously died, I could say, you know, you get to choose how you go, how you think about this, how you choose to believe what is next. How do you choose to believe what you're going to lose? And you have, so think of both options. It's not just about loss. You're also going to gain. Because we got that pendulum swing of polarity. What do you get out of it too? You're not just losing, you're gaining. So don't forget that part. You get both. You get both. There's a push and a pull factor for every trip you take. So why are you going? Because there's something else to do. You got someplace else to go.
Mm.
And why are you staying? Because people love you and they want to feed you good food and you want to have great sex and you want to watch the ball game. You know, it's comfortable with what you know. And fear is that other one that goes, let me just sit with you in the fear because everyone is going to have fear. That's and fear you want to sit with and watch it, look at it, work it out because we know we're gonna go through it. We're not gonna get stuck. We're gonna go through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a good talk. Sunset time here.
Whew,
What about over
I
there?
know. Yeah. Yeah. Got the same. Got the
Well, I
same.
feel privileged. I just want
Uh,
to. Now it's my turn to say a few words. Yeah, I feel
good.
absolutely privileged because I'm here sitting this whole time thinking, well, how did I not think to interview Phyllis a long time ago? Why am I doing this now? And it's honestly, it's who knows, I've never had this experience where I get to, oh, okay, you're leaving. Let's do these things before you go, please, if it's possible. And
Oh yeah.
probably everyone in your life is feeling that. I don't know if you feel overwhelmed by that. If people are kind of, Phyllis, I need to talk to you.
It's a little bit of that, but you
I
know,
bet.
some of it is this one is important. This one matters. This is, as you know, words matter. As you know, information matters. As you know, you need to be empowered. You could not sit in your own ignorance and your own fear. So I'm like, oh, I work with smart people. So I'm like, oh.
Well, yeah, no, when you told me that day, I felt like an orphan. I was like, you know how
Mm,
I'm losing someone of great guidance who I can't, I just couldn't imagine the future. And I bet I'm not the only person feeling that way. I bet the other writers are also feeling that way,
mhm.
especially because we just got started in January.
I
So it's kind of
know,
also
I
like
know.
makes you angry
Yeah.
and why? But but I did want to, let you know how important you've been to me and again, probably everyone else that you've, coached because I'm not the only one. I try to think I'm not the only one. Everybody else has also been greatly impacted. For me, again, I feel like it's been a year of impact, not 3 months.
Mhm.
In 3 months for me,
Yeah.
you've really changed me because if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be trying to write a book.
No,
Whatever
you will write a book.
I will, in whatever dimension you're
You
in.
will complete a book.
Yeah, please do come visit. Okay, have fun in your next dimension, but come tuck at our ear and uh, get into our
Yes, yes.
fingers. Have fun in that dimension, but visit us.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Why not?
Mhm.
You know, other people can. I've seen other people do it. I've seen the testimony. I've seen the technology. I'm like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So I'm
Yeah.
on it. And I have the advantage of learning before I go. I had the desire. The desire drove me. Longing, gloaming, gave me, I need to know how. What do I need to know next? And the answers pop up. The information showed up. So I'm like, girl, we got this. We got this. You're going to be tired of hearing from me. I'll give
Well,
you a break. I'll go visit my home planet or something. I'll see y'all next month. But
yeah,
I'm excited.
definitely.
I am
Definitely.
grateful.
Yeah.
So very grateful. And if gratefulness, I could bottle it, I would be overflowing in gold and diamonds and riches. That is the feeling of this experience right
Mhm.
now.
Mhm.
And it's in these moments that makes it go, oh yeah, 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 bring on the death, baby, because I wouldn't have experienced this otherwise. How would I have known this otherwise? So you gotta get through the fear, get to your goals, get to the desires, share this with your other writers, and let's rethink about how we think about death and life and the basics that we gotta know. We gotta so we can get over our fear.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic. I'll be sharing that with because we all need to be dealing with that now. It doesn't matter if we're young, I think.
Thank you. Thank you
Mhm.
for you capsulized it very beautifully for me. This is just to get over our fear so we can go on to what's next. The
And I think
joy.
it'll really empower people to see this and be like, "Holy crap, she's talking like that and she knows she's about to go. What?" Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
fantastic. You don't get to see that every day. You really don't.
No. As I say, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's see what's next.
That's the part I can do is share. I thought, well, I'm not going to let you go without having people know you. Maybe not personally, but through this podcast that I've always been wanting to do and wow, it's like the best first episode I can make and the most motivating
Whew.
one.
You're yeah, you're impressive. Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Thank you. So
Keep
thank
doing
you
it.
so much for, carving out time.
Oh,
You must be tired from all the talking and thinking and Jesus.
you energize me. Gratefulness will take you far, but I'm going to go take a nap. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. Thank you
I
so
honor
much.
the God in you and the goddess in you. I honor that. And it's a privilege. And so thank you, my sister.
And I can't wait to go play with you in the next dimension, whenever that will be.
Come on. I got the party tent. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
All right, love. Thank you.
Love you.
Besos. Besos.
Besos. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember, you can follow me on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, as well as YouTube. Next week's episode will be in Spanish. I'll see you then. Bye.